This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we have a fairly light agenda. I don't know, has Animesh joined? Not yet. Okay, so we have three things, hopefully. One is we have a discussion on the OCP Amsterdam, OCP session at the Amsterdam Regional Summit. Um, the second is hopefully if Animesh joins, we can do a little bit of a discussion on a virtual chip platform that they discussed at the last workshop. And the third are opens. Um, does anybody have any pressing opens that they'd like to bring up first? No one? Okay. Um, the one open I'll bring up is we've said they decided we have there is nobody from Samtech. We've decided to take a shot at moving the prototype, the POC along, and we're taking a hard shot at trying to get something significant ready for the OCP Amsterdam Summit. So if you'd like to join the POC meetings or participate in some way, drop me a note. But the idea is we're going to go along the pitchlets pitchlets plan that JP put together and aim to produce some boards by a development board by the Amsterdam Summit. It's going to be a tough timeline, but we're going to take a solid shot at it. Quinn, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, if we can pull it off, it's pretty exciting. So,
Hey,
so if
Bapi,
you,
and
yeah,
everyone, good morning. This is Animesh. I just joined.
hey, Animesh. All right. Okay. So the second thing is we have, oh, I knew what I forgot. Okay. So for the OCP summit in Amsterdam, I'm going to do this first. Uh, we have hopefully at least 5 significant things that are going to come up. One is a bunch of wires spec, at least a 0.9 draft. The second is a CDX spec. I know Alex is on, but Jawad's not on. Maybe hopefully he joins. Some kind of a draft of a CDX spec. The third is we just kicked off an effort to define the link layer. Something along a discussion or at least a white paper on what we're going to address on the link layer. Oh, Dave Kaler just joined. Perfect timing.
Hi, good morning.
The fourth that looks like it's going to come up is, if we make significant progress in the POC, some kind of pitchlets. And the fifth is maybe there's some offline activities that a couple of companies are discussing around business models for the marketplace, and that's a long shot, but we'll see. These are the interesting things that are lining up. There are a couple of others that may or may not happen, but these look like they're in flight right now. So I think we wanted to have a discussion around communicating all this in some coordinated fashion by the Amsterdam Summit. And Brian, do you want to pick up the thread here, or?
Yeah. First question is Dirk on? I don't see his name yet, but okay. But yeah, what we're hoping to do is have one umbrella press release that OCP issues during the summit, and that would just highlight all these 5 activities in a single PR. Most likely there would be just a quote from Bill Carter, maybe a second quote from someone possibly within Facebook. That's what we're envisioning. And then to supplement that is have all the individual members who are contributing to these 5 different pieces push out a press release, maybe joint with some of the other members. So it all depends on who's working on the bunch of wire spec, right? So that could be 2 or 3 companies doing a joint PR together with an included OCP quote and following along with all the 5 potential press release items here. So it would be a mass coordination between everyone here, as well as in their respective marketing and PR departments. We have about 2.5 months to get this going. Obviously, OCP has their own window of getting approved quotes put together. Sometimes that's 3 to 4 weeks out. So if we can at least have reasonable drafts of these press releases, near the end of August timeframe, before we reach the September Labor Day holiday, I think we'd be in good shape. Is there any questions? Any folks here that are kind of wavering in terms of this idea? We feel this would be a good significant announcement that would take place there at the end of September.
I think it's important because I do think we need to keep the profile of ODSA high. I think this will be our best shot at it.
Yeah, I think we've been having ongoing briefings, as you guys know, over the past 2 months, and we had another one earlier this week with an analyst firm that went over some of the activities that happened at the workshop that we held at Intel. And of course, all of the folks that we've been briefing, they want to continue to get updates, and they want to see some real work taking place. I think EE Times released an article just a couple days ago regarding Intel's recent announcement about some of the interchiplet stuff, and ODSA was mentioned in there, but of course it was kind of followed on that the group is still just beginning. So it would really be great to be able to highlight a lot of the work that we've done just in such a short time. But again, it's going to require all the companies here that are participating in these items to be able to come together and form these press releases. So I don't know if I may not have the press contacts for each of your companies. So if folks can send me an email with the people that we should be working with, that would be fantastic.
So I think the intent is that, if we have all of these as coordinated in some fashion, it's much better than piecemeal announcements or not announcing them at all, but that together they make us reflect significant progress for us in the 6 months since we've been formed. DJ, does this make sense?
Yeah, I think we should do some kind of reporting of the progress as well. And you saw one small, one slide I have, but I think we should have a little bit more in terms of the PR and the blurb, which talks about the progress which the ODSA has gone through.
And DJ, I guess it reminds me, Bapi, we should add one other item here for potential PR topics, and I think this would be something that would be included in the umbrella of the OCP PR that announces these 5 things. But if the data that we get back from the analyst firm that we're trying to shore up in terms of the business opportunity, that would be something that we'd want to highlight in this press release too. So we should
that's a very good point. I think usually that kind of headline attracts a lot of attention, and hopefully we have some data which can be used, and all of that can be put together in one press release. The growth of ODSA in terms of the companies joining, growth of ODSA in terms of the attendance, which is growing, and growth of ODSA in terms of the market opportunity, which it's addressing. So those 3 things.
Yeah, combined with these other items, I think that'd be some powerful. That'd be a powerful release.
Definitely.
Let's see. So yeah, so in terms of next, Sam, you got any thoughts?
I don't have any real thoughts on this. We're struggling right now, at least within my group, we're struggling with some of the kind of PR support.
Sorry, man, you're breaking up. You're breaking up. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying there.
I didn't really catch that last part because Sam.
No, I know what he's saying. I've heard is basically on the business group itself. There's not significant progress. Not enough progress to sort of formulate a solid plan. I think that's basically this. That this is suspect.
So I think on the business work stream, if I'm not mistaken, it also wanted to address the business flow. But I think the market opportunity is one small aspect of the business work stream. And if these research firms are able to generate some data, I think this could give us a right forum to share that data.
Yeah. I think maybe we replace. I like Brian's idea of replacing maybe we replace the business model side with the market opportunity information we're going to extract, hopefully.
Right, exactly. And this is very common. Usually, even research firms themselves have press releases where they will say, so-and-so market is expected to grow by this much percentage and go to X billion dollars by 2025. It's quite common to have those kind of announcements. So this is also something which is in line with how the industry norms are.
Right. Okay.
Well, typically those announcements are made by the market and analysis firm, right, to try to sell their report.
Totally. But it's even better if ODSA can do that, right? I mean, why give exposure to the market research firm, which is being paid by ODSA, and we own the rights to the content generated because of that payment? So we should be the ones who should be announcing it, not the research firm. Research firms will be happy to announce it. Trust me. They'll say, great, we'll take this data and we'll announce it, and we'll say Linley projects or whoever XYZ projects, and all the attention goes to them. And then all the queries go to them as well. They will say, oh, we want to learn more about this, and because they will have, of course, an email contact and all of that at the end of the press release. So I think we should have that for ODSA.
Yeah, I think what you guys, what OCP did in the March conference had an analyst report from IHS talking about the uptick in OCP infrastructure purchases and a forecast, and I think that went really, really well, and that was announced by OCP, but that generated quite a few articles because it turned a lot of heads for sure. So if we can do something similar, I think that would be good.
So I put the names in here of the people working on Alex. So we're assuming that there'll be some kind of a follow-on to the with Jawad from to the survey information we had at the last workshop by September. We lose Alex. Okay. So I put some names here, Brian. In terms of next steps, you're expecting that maybe each. I know Ramin's in the air. Ramin's in transit right now, and I don't know where Mark is. But offline, they said they will be able to support this, and I'm assuming we're looking for this kind of communication support from all the other names on this, right? Brian?
Sorry, Bapi, I was distracted. Could you repeat the last 30 seconds of your comment?
Sure. You can hear me, right? I haven't been disconnected, right? Okay.
No, I can hear
we're not
you.
as fortunate. No.
Well, I said Brian, and I think in terms of next steps, but Brian, you'd like I've attached names to each of these, the people working on each of these deliverables. I'm assuming the next step is for you to get names for marketing or communications people from each of these companies, right?
Right. And yeah, so this is helpful so that I know who to work with on each of these items. And of course, let's see, make sure you throw in Dirk there as the umbrella PR. Myself, you, and Dirk. Yeah, sorry, I was distracted because Quinn already sent an email introducing me to their PR person, which happens to be another Spark, so I'm a little surprised by that. Too
Yes,
many
the world
Brians,
definitely
too many
doesn't have enough
Sparks.
of them. Okay, Alex is back. Alex, do you want to? Okay, sure. I'm assuming she has communications difficulties. Anybody else want to say anything about this in terms of in terms of either participating or any feedback on the idea? And so if we have other opportunities, we'll just line them up with this. Other things to talk about. Sam's having connection
Can you
problems.
hear
Okay.
me now?
Yes, we can, Alex.
Oh, good. Now I can't actually remember what the question was back when you were
So,
asking me, and I've missed a bit of what you were saying. Can you
well,
repeat?
are you able to see my screen, or are you driving?
I can see your screen.
All right. So you caught the front end of the discussion, right? That the idea is that maybe we do like a coordinated communications by 9/26 around the regional summit in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And the idea is that one of the things I'm aiming for is that we have some kind of a CDX draft spec that's based off Jawad's company's Zeph spec, and that we build off the survey we did.
Uh-huh.
Right, and so I just want to. I think the next step is that for all of you guys contributing to this, to have your communications people sort of get in touch with Brian and basically to get the ball rolling on this. That's basically it. Is that something that sounds right or premature, or basically I'm looking for feedback?
I think I missed the link between the two. Are you saying that the spec should be in the press releases?
No. I'm saying that we're assuming the spec will be ready by then, some draft of the spec, and then that we also do a press release about it, is what we're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it sounds like a good plan, and I like the idea of having a deadline.
Okay, so then send
Bobby,
your, yeah.
excuse me, what is CDX?
CDX is the chiplet physical design spec, and we're calling it the chiplet design exchange. There was a here. I'll see if I can find it. Give me one sec. I'll send it to you offline. But it's basically the idea that we need an open standard for to describe chiplet physicals. And Jawad has a format, Rika, that the company called Zeph that they want to offer up as a starting point.
Okay, I didn't know that you were speccing out a mechanical or physical chiplet spec.
That was the you remember his session at the last workshop?
Yeah, I thought this was a database to exchange data.
Yeah, and so to exchange data, you'd have to have some kind of a format, right?
So you mean it's really a spec for a format, not for
Yeah.
the chip itself?
Yeah,
Okay, thanks. I appreciate that.
a description spec.
And how do you think this would interface with a bunch of wires spec?
Be orthogonal, right?
Okay.
That's why my expectation. That a bunch of wires is this interface, and this is the this is one of the bunch of wires is the physical interface. The ODSA stack is a logical interface. This is some tooling information you need in order to combine multiple chiplets into one design. It's sort of a different vector of the kind of information you need.
Hey, Bobby, would it be less confusing to call it the chiplet data exchange?
Sure. You know what? Let me make. Where's Jawad when I need him? All right. So in that case, if this makes sense, I think we've said. Brian, is there anything else you want to cover on this?
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Animesh, you're still on, right?
I'm still here.
Okay.
Buffy. Sorry, I was on mute.
Okay. Would you like me to hand the screen over to you?
I do not have anything to show except the presentation that we did in the workshop. So I think folks have it. If
Well,
you want
we
me
have a couple of
to
new faces. At least that worth as a discussion
pull
point,
that one up.
maybe.
Okay. So I can pull that one up. Hold on a moment.
So this is a topic we covered in the workshop, the virtual chip platform. The Animesh from Intel. I think they're exploring the idea. Animesh, shoot me down wherever I'm wrong. The virtual chip platform is a mechanism to simulate IP and chiplets and how you would integrate them with other chiplets in a design. It's a platform used inside Intel, and I think they're exploring the idea of maybe making it available to the ODSA community. It feels, at least my gut reaction is, it'd be a very valuable thing to have software models for chiplets in the ODSA marketplace, so that you could you could explore how to use them with other chiplets. And I think the goal of today's discussion is to get some feedback, reaction from the people on the call to see whether that's a good idea and whether openness is this is a useful thing. Is that fair, Animesh?
It's quite fair. It's quite fair.
Right.
Pretty good, thing to start with. So let me share my screen.
I apologize. 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
Make presenter. Okay, it's all you.
Okay. Let me see if let me know if things can. You guys are able to see my screen.
Not yet. Oh, do I have? No, I don't have to stop sharing. You should be able to share Animesh.
Okay. So I did click on the share screen. Is it coming up or?
No, you have to. Okay, there's a weird thing. You have to click on the screen and then click the share screen.
Okay.
Select the
So
screen,
I have.
then click the share screen.
Okay, just a moment. And share screen, yeah. Is it there?
Yes.
It's there, right?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. So I'm gonna go a little bit faster, with this one because probably most of you have seen it. But what the vision here is, think it today, that any company that is trying to synthesize an SoC, whatever, they have to go to either they are developing an IP in a soft form, by themselves, or they are buying these IPs from various, IP provider companies, and then they put all of these things together and then put, their SoCs. Okay. With the chiplet, the way I see things happening would be that the analogy is that you will be getting now the dice, okay, with a agreed upon interface. I'm not going to go into the details of those interfaces and all that, right? But it's a diced die, which has been fully validated, okay? And you inherit that one or get that one as an IP, put it onto your package, and then there you go. Okay, that's the thing happening now. What I see in this one is two very distinct things, and at a broad stroke, I'll split that. Is the front end part of it, where how these chiplets, will be done. Is there a framework in which a similar type of chiplet, let's say with a functionality, can be simulated effortlessly by the integrating, company? Okay, that's the front end part I'm talking about, and then there would be a back end part where the real packaging, connections to the substrate, and all these things happen, where your physical interfaces like bunch of wires, COVOS, EMIB, AIB, blah, blah, blah. All those things, will, come, right? So today I'm not going to talk about the packaging stuff because I think there are experts here who would, handle that one. The real, physical interface, power per joule, per bit, whatever, it will be handled appropriately by people. I'm going to address the front end part of it. Okay. The front end, what I'm seeing is that if, for example, take an application, and company A has built a chiplet for that. Company B also has built a chiplet, for that. I, as a user, have the flexibility to go get this chiplet from A or B and integrate in my package and move on. But I want to make sure that I have done all necessary simulations, the modeling, on the front end to make sure that in my design, if I source the chiplet from company A or company B, it will work effortlessly. And I have all the firmware and everything taken care of, and my software stack have been pre-done before I, commit my design, and I'm able to, do that one. The second thing that I'm seeing over here is that company A may design their chiplet with their own flow. We are not trying to change that flow here. Flow here is their particular process, their tool flow, mechanism, chains, and other things, right? And they have their test cases and stuff like that. They have modeled it and simulated it. Company B may have done it very differently. Okay, but from a hardware perspective, when the chip comes to me in a specific shape and size and interface, they are the same. How do I connect under licensing agreement with these two companies, I as a user, in an environment, and then simulate both of them together to make sure that if I go this way or that way, things are not broken. Now, this may sound a little ambitious here, but that's how things start. I do believe we have done some analysis here at Intel, and see that if you do that, not only you increase your coverage, of making sure that the chiplet from any company will work, you improve the robustness and overall configurability, of your product. Your product means my product here, which I am going to, generate by putting all these, chiplets together. Okay, so that's what we were trying to convey in the workshop, and with that, the idea I have, and I want to kind of socialize it with you folks and say that if there's an open framework that is brought to the industry where companies, you guys are all like-minded people trying to do something, and we would like to be a part of this one as well, is agree to have a open infrastructure where people can come and build and connect their models. Okay, today I cannot take, I have to build, each company has to build a unique environment where they will be taking IPs from company A, B, and C and put it together and do it. It's proprietary, it takes time, it takes, and there's a whole lot of money that gets, put into that whole process, because that is a very extensive process. The front end modeling, simulation, making sure your software stack is up and running, your RTL will respond. Okay, that you spend close to 33, 34, maybe 50% of your time, doing that. And if somebody is trying to do software, upbringing on this one, it would be even more. So why not we all get together and reduce this time and make a unified universal open to all type of infrastructure, which each company adheres to certain norms of producing the systems models for their components, so that they can be connected and people can move forward and reduce time, increase robustness, and cost reduce. Does that make sense, or? Should I take silence as golden?
And I think it makes sense. How, have you kind of prototyped this capability at this point?
We have done some prototyping, and we are seeing the light at the end of tunnel. I mean, in my group, we are practicing some of these things to bring up, our SOCs real fast. And what I have seen is, I mean, there are lots of experts in the industry. They do a, great job. I'm still learning. Okay, but I can say with a lot of confidence that this particular thing has given me, in the past 20 designs that I have done, 20, 21, 22, something odd number, I have gone to A0 production. The device has not seen any respin. Okay. When the device was powered up, I mean, I won't name the programs and all that because of Intel's confidentiality. We booted Windows in less than 6 hours. Okay. And on the other end, they multiple DSP-based devices that I did, several options of Zephyr OSs and all that, they came up within a day. So what I have seen is that at least for our things, it has helped a lot. It has reduced the cost, and hitting A0 with that type of confidence was the key. If you take any programs in your companies, if the chip goes for a B0 spin, which is a metal spin, or if it is not, at Intel parlance, we call it A1, which is a metal fix, few layers. At 16 nanometer, each layer will cost you somewhere around 100K, so you can multiply the amount of money that you'll be spending plus the team of people that you'll be using for X number of months. So that becomes, the cost. And if you have to go to a B0 stepping, then, a 16 nanometer stuff takes anywhere between 1.8 billion to 2 euros. So you know that, right? So the point here is to allow that surety so that each company can reduce, their cost, and therefore, be as effective as the software companies are today. The soft IPs are effective as of today, where you can go buy these IPs from anywhere, plug it in, they conform to certain standards, and there you go. So yes, we do have something that we are working on. We have been using it, internally, and with this chiplet thingy going up, I'm a big proponent of this chiplets here at Intel, which may differ from some of the folks, but I think this is a great opportunity to make another, standard in OCP ODSA.
Sorry, who was speaking?
This is Animesh.
No. The person talking to you. I'm sorry.
Sam.
Sorry?
It was me, Sam.
Oh my God, you sound so different. Okay.
Sam got a shock.
I have connectivity. Maybe it's doing something to my voice now.
Well, I think, Animesh, I think you were proposing that maybe you can open up some of your tooling, not just the format, but some of the tooling as well, right?
Yeah, this is the whole infrastructure. We would like the companies to start participating, because this is just, my vision, the way we think to accelerate things over here. But when we take it to an outside as a open standard, which companies can participate in or use, adopt, whatever, obviously, people would like to think, from different angles and give feedback and improve it. So yes, to start with, that's what I'm soliciting first. That is the idea acceptable, and if it is acceptable, would some folks, come forward, start participating, or would you be looking for me to demonstrate something, which we have done, and then maybe that's when you would take the next step and come forward and do it. That it's open. So let me know. And
We were looking for some My thought was, it would be a pretty neat thing for when we had a marketplace for each chip to have an accompanying chiplet, to have an accompanying software model that could plug into this framework.
Yep. Would we look at this? I mean, this is kind of like we talk about the CDX, right? And the kind of database associated with that. Is this really an extension of that to allow?
This is the application side. Exactly. This would be a third facet. This would be the equivalent of a much fancier version of a bus functional model that you used to see. So that you can write to registers, you can bring up software, you can bring up application software. Do I have that right, Animesh?
Yes, you do.
So we're really hoping more people can speak up and see whether, if this is a good idea. I think there will be a lot of support for Animesh to sort of gain traction to bring this to ODSA. I think there's been a reasonable investment inside Intel on this.
So this is DJ. I have a question for Animesh. So Animesh, the idea is for Intel to contribute this framework and some of the tools to ODSA?
We are not using, so let's say the tool will be this framework that will become open to everyone. That is the tool. And it will be done using primarily system C modeling to start with. Okay. So to me, in my mind, the tool is this whole framework that companies would be using. We need to build this particular stuff based upon what we have done so far. Does that give you some answers, DJ?
Yeah, so it gives me half an answer, right? So a framework is, a useful first step, but then making framework into something which is actionable and useful requires set of tools which have to embed that framework. And I'm sure Intel has those tools. So you are proposing that using this framework, ODSA develop its own set of tools which basically follow this framework. Is that what you're proposing, or are you saying?
No. I think it is actually much simpler than that. What I'm proposing here is that consider this framework as a tool. Okay, I'll remove your confusion. Consider this framework as a tool, and as Bapi was saying, that each company that is trying to do a chiplet of any type, they come up with a system C model of that chiplet. Okay, that is available, and that system C model may become available much sooner than the physical chiplet. Okay, so everyone knows how to get the system C model running for something, so that an integrator company like Intel, Facebook, Google, whosoever can take these system C models and start, once the business agreements have been made, they can take these things and start from an architect in those companies can sit and start visualizing, okay, how is my whole chiplet subsystem is going to look like? What are my performance indicators? How is it going to boot? Which one will be a better performing chiplet for me? Yeah.
I think the question from DJ, if I understand him correctly, is those tools to integrate all this, will Intel provide those tools out the door to seed the whole development, or is the expectation that ODSA will develop those integration tools?
No. I think what the way we would do it is that we would demonstrate, something that, guys, here it is. These are the interfaces. This is a proposed, plugin interface, and let people come back and say if they like that plugin interface or we need to change it.
Right. So
at a high level, what I'm expecting, Bapi, is, let's say you are doing a chiplet of any type, you will come up with a system C model. That model will be written in a specific way.
Right.
And
so now I have
connect with it. Yeah.
So that is a necessary condition, right? I mean,
yes,
it's given.
That is a necessary condition.
Yeah, so it's not even a point of debate. Companies do need to provide some kind of a behavioral model for chiplets. That goes without saying. So if somebody is saying we need that, of course we need that. But what happens next?
So what? Okay, so when you say that one, what I'm assuming, my understanding here is that we all have agreed that the modeling will be done in a specific manner with interfaces power management, KPIs and other things taken care of, right? So that it is transparent that whether I take a model from you or from somebody else and connect it into this framework, it remains completely transparent. I don't have to go tweak this framework at all.
Right, and
Nobody.
that's the CDX, that's the logical behavior which I think Bapi mentioned earlier in the call on the CDX, right?
No, CDX is all physicals. This is
all
the logical equivalent. CDX is XY, XY dimensions, height, Z dimensions, thermal dissipation profile, pinouts, XY, the physical layouts.
Okay.
So
we need
think it this way, Bob. Let me dive it in a little bit more detail. So DJ, and allow me this 5 seconds. Okay. So think it this way, that you are trying to do a chiplet of a type, company A. Company B is also trying to do a chiplet of the same type, right? Because they are competing for the market share. Company A has their flow, company B has their own flow. They will write their test plans, test cases, whatever. Company B will write their test plan, test cases, whatever, right? They may be functionally similar, but physically, coding perspective, corner cases, and all these things are going to be very different. Okay. Today, this is what happens in the industry, that each company is trying to put money in getting this thing done. And what I would say is that if there are 10 companies trying to do it, industry as a whole is putting in 10x amount of money as an industry trying to do the same thing. What? Trying to validate and bring up the firmware and software on that particular functionality, because it is proprietary to each company. But if you go up a little bit, you will see that 10x amount of money is being spent in the industry to achieve the same functionality. Are you with me so far?
Yeah, keep going. I have some questions, but keep going.
Right. Yeah. But then what happens now is, with this framework, what happens is companies can now collaborate, and I can leverage things which, you don't have to go to, that extent, of doing things. Okay. I can leverage things because I'm an integrator. I do a monolithic, SOC today, huge one. So I have to take everybody's, input, put it into a big container, and there it goes, right? But now what I can do, I can take the System C model from these companies, the test cases and all that, and do the whole thing before I have even committed an RTL, design. Okay, because I have done a lot of firmware, bring up on this one, or at least I have a very good idea of how this thing is going to happen, what would be my performance indicator. Then I can select whether chiplet A is a better one for my design, or B is for my better design. And the best thing is, I can take all the test cases and plans from company A and from company B under licensing, requirements, because they may be proprietary. The companies, put in their efforts to make, that thing happen, right? And then suddenly I have, 2x amount of test cases to make my product 2x more robust. Now, some of them may be similar, they may or may not achieve, that target, but it's suffice to say that if you have run 100 test cases and somebody has run 200 test cases, assuming that these are, different and they have, value in it, the other one will be, 2x more robust and will find out, more problems or corner cases than if you have run only 100. Right. So that's another advantage, that comes to you as indicator, because if the integrator fails in making the package and this whole software stuff work, then the chiplets will lose their steam, because then this particular thing will, flop in the industry.
No, it's given. So we all agree it's given. It's actually given that there has to be a simulator which can simulate collection of chiplets to create some kind of a performance indicator for the module. I think in the first or second workshop, I don't know if it was Javed or somebody who talked about having a simulation tool where you could bring in these different chiplets, and when you bring, and he showed a GUI kind of a rendition, and each of them will be basically, when you bring them into a system, it will be able to they are all going to be having system C model, which is going to talk to each other. So that's given. I think we all agree that that's without that you can't even think of doing anything, right? But the question which you raise, very interesting question, is let's say you have 4 system C models from company A, B, C, D. Okay. Now what happens next?
You connect them to
And
this
I want
framework.
I want to integrate it. Let's say I'm not Intel. I'm a company in ODSA. I don't have a simulation tool, or I don't have an integrated tool. Everybody gave me their system C model. What do I do with them?
Yeah, so you take the system C model and you connect it to this framework or infrastructure that will be building, right?
So that's a software, right? No, hold on.
Yeah, that's
So
the
this,
software. Yeah.
okay. So where does that software come from?
Okay, so that software originally will originate from Intel as a demonstration, but I'm expecting that like-minded companies will participate and build this, this framework.
But this software should be a common software, meaning, again, it's very important that this software which I use to do the integration and testing, and you use the same software because we need to have the same result.
Absolutely.
Right? So that software should be
we will
commonly
open
available. Yeah.
Yes.
So that software should be commonly available.
Correct.
Right? And Intel has some software right now which does this.
I do, yes, we do have.
Yeah. So are you thinking of bringing that software out in open so that you can help the community?
Well, if the community likes it, then why not get together and drive it? That's the whole thing here. So I wanted, I first, kind of socialized this idea with Bapi and some others, and we all felt that it probably has some merit. So that's how Bapi roped me into.
So that answers my original question, which was there is an integration tool, and again, it's a software tool which Intel will think of contributing to trigger the development of that tool further by the community.
You can say it that way, DJ, correct?
Yeah,
exactly.
Because obviously community will not contribute to the tool if the tool is inside Intel. The tool has to come outside Intel, only then community will say, okay, I'll add stuff to it because now everybody can use it. But I'm not going to add stuff to a tool which is inside Intel's firewall. You see what I'm saying?
I don't know. Absolutely. Absolutely understand. That's why.
Maybe you want to take this offline and talk about it a little bit. So, because I think there are tools that are available, and we're talking about exchanging the model, which should be integratable without any additional tooling, as object files or what have you, and some additional coding on top of the different models. So, just maybe DJ and myself, and I'm sorry, who's presenting this?
This anime.
Maybe the 3 or 4 people that are really interested in this, we can talk offline a bit, have a separate breakout discussion.
Yeah. So, Kevin, I think the one thing we wanted to do in this session was, if there's interest for animation, sort of take it back inside the corporations. An offline session sounds like a good idea. I think the big thing was, since this is a regular weekly form, I wanted to get some feedback. We got feedback from you and DJ, and some from Sam. I'm hoping somebody else can pipe up and tell us whether this is interesting or not, and that gives us a sense of what to do next.
I like the idea, PP. This is Reza, and I really like the idea. I think this is going to save a lot of money for everybody in the industry.
I like the idea. I'm curious.
I would say something like this is needed. That's how I would phrase it. It's a, again, necessary thing for the community to develop on. That's all I would
agree.
say.
I think there's the trade-off. I mean, is there a trade-off in terms of the amount of work that you need to put into to kind of create the database, the software to do this representation? Otherwise everybody kind of does it themselves. But I'm curious, Animesh, in terms of what kind of tooling and resources required to prepare the subsystem model in your experience.
Well, it depends on how complex that subsystem is. Okay. This could be a 1-person, job, or 2-person, job, or it could be a 10-person job. I am envisioning that the chiplets. So I know for practical reasons and all that. Right now, the chiplets, could be very small. It could be, just files or just limited, functionality. But I am envisioning that these chiplets could be, full-fledged, SoCs by themselves. Right. So when you have quite a complex, SoC by itself that is acting as a chiplet, then it becomes a little more complicated and all that. So I do not have much to share on exactly how much, resources and others, it will take. I just have, my internal stuff, and I have seen it. For files and all that, we have, half a person, modeling it, for what DSPs and all that, we have two people,
And I would
modeling it.
think the effort is the same that you'd have to do anyway, except by doing it in a compatible way, it means that you can share it and integrate across multiple people. So it really shouldn't be more work if it's done right.
Correct. And it probably would be just one-time thing to get this, we call it a software or a tool, I call it an infrastructure, right? It's done. Then it's more of what DJ and Bapi were saying, that, we enhance your models, connect it. These will be standard, connectors, and off you go.
So can I echo back what I think the last 15 minutes of conversation covered? The way I'm assimilating this, I think Animesh is proposing that we standardize on agreeing to provide system C models as one of the chiplet deliverables. The system C models could then be integrated by the SIP developers to create a functional simulation environment to verify the interaction between all the chiplets. I also believe that there's going to need to be other tools in the physical design realm to figure out how to integrate the devices, connect them together, design the substrates. That's out, the physical design aspects are outside the scope of what Animesh is proposing. You're really talking about a system C deliverable. Is that a fair statement? Do I understand that right?
Yes. Yes. This is entirely about the logical interaction for application development between chiplets, software application or whatever other higher level application development.
Is there a tooling framework that Intel uses for integrating all these system C models? And would they be willing to contribute that tooling to the community?
I mean, we do use some of these things, and if we all agree, then maybe we can build a working committee and then see how this thing can be brought out.
But Animesh, I think can this concept be used to just for the proof of concept that the ODSA is going after? I mean, the 3 chiplets that we are starting with, maybe those are the right 3 to start getting the seed.
Yes, that's a good point.
Bapi is after me to see that if we can bring it as a proof of concept to this Amsterdam.
Kevin, I just want to answer.
This is going to give a very good head start on the development.
Say again, sorry, I missed that.
Kevin, the entire purpose of this conversation, there's some level of iteration required. Animesh is taking the community's temperature to say what the degree of interest is, and he's going to sort of collate all this input and take it back internally, is the way I understand it.
Yeah.
The main purpose of today's conversation was to sort of reassure Animesh with that. What I hear, my gut feeling was that this was a needed thing, and if Intel could contribute the tooling, there would be a sort of reasonably positive welcome. And unless I'm mistaken, that's what I'm hearing today.
I think there's a strong support for this.
Yeah, it would be great if we get a demo either on this in a session like this or on a side session. You get a demo of what has been done and how difficult it is or how easy it is to use it, and that would be a good starting point too.
Okay, that's a good feedback. Yeah, and I see the interest. Good.
Okay, so in terms of next steps, is there any specific thing anybody has in mind? Kevin had something about going offline. Reza had something about doing a demo.
Yeah, I would love to chat with Animesh offline if anyone else wants to join the conversation. I don't know, how do we want to coordinate that for you, Bobby, or?
Sure, I can set that up.
That'd be awesome.
Anybody else wants to join that conversation?
Yeah, this is Quinn. I think I would like to join that.
Anyone else?
You just create a simulation working.
Yeah, that's my dream right now. One more working group. And then Reza, your idea of a demo. So maybe in either next Friday or the Friday after, Animesh, maybe a demo or something of some kind.
That would be great.
Do we lose Animesh? Okay. Yeah. So Sam, to answer your the question you had ages ago, which I believe I didn't answer satisfactorily. The theory is that to integrate chiplets from multiple companies in a marketplace, you'll need descriptions on a variety of axes. You'll need physical descriptions, you'll need logical descriptions, and you need those chiplets to obey a common interface. And sort of each of these is orthogonal to one another. What Animesh is talking about is a logical description. What Jawad and Alex presented as a physical description. And the stack we're working on is the physical and logical interface between the chiplets. That's the working theory.
But there's more to it than that. I mean, because I think those things are all required. But you also, because these chips will also have like clock and power sequencing and things like that also would, at least from a package element, you'd want to understand as you're designing them. So there's both the logical interface between the chiplets, but also the overall kind of power clock sequencing information that has to be represented as well.
Yeah, let me capture that. Yeah, I that's very important.
Sorry, I had temporarily stepped away, but I heard my name, called. So was there something for me in the last 10, 15 seconds?
No, we're good. I think we're almost out of time. I've captured all the notes. Just FYI, we kicked off the stack working group. Anybody who wants to join is welcome to join. Anybody have any pressing opens? We've already had a decent amount of fallout. All right. If not, thank you all. Enjoy your Friday. Sam, thank you for hosting last week's meeting.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thanks, Bobby. Bye.
Bye, all. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thanks, Brian.